For years he lived in a fog of self-doubt, waking up each morning with a heaviness in his chest that never seemed to fade. Even the smallest decisions, what to wear, what to say, felt like potential landmines. He was convinced he was the problem in every conflict, replaying arguments in his mind until the words lost all meaning. Every disagreement circled back to the same conclusion. He was too sensitive, too emotional, always at fault. He remembered one night, sitting in the car after a fight, staring at the dashboard lights, wondering if he was losing his mind. He replayed conversations endlessly, searching for his mistakes, apologizing for things he didn't do. Sometimes he'd scroll through old messages, desperate to find proof that his memory wasn't failing him. Subtle dismissals and calm denials made him question his own memory and sanity. He'd hear, "You're imagining things," so often that he started to believe it. Each time he voiced a concern, he was told it never happened or that he provoked it. He remembers the sting of being told, "You're just too dramatic." After finally working up the courage to speak, he withdrew from friends and family, unable to explain the confusion he felt. Invitations went unanswered, phone calls ignored, as he retreated further into himself. The isolation deepened his dependence on the one person creating the chaos. He clung to her, believing she was the only one who understood him, even as she chipped away at his confidence. He accepted blame for feelings that weren't his, never suspecting manipulation. He thought love meant always saying sorry, even when he didn't know what for. The person he loved seemed so sure of their version of events, he believed he was broken. He wondered if anyone else ever felt this lost, this invisible. Only when his private world collapsed publicly, when the story went viral and strangers saw what he couldn't, did the fog begin to lift. For the first time, he wondered if maybe, just maybe, he wasn't the one who was broken after all. Gaslighting isn't just lying, it's a calculated attack on your sense of reality. It starts small. A text that doesn't quite match your memory, a conversation that feels off, but you brush it aside. Maybe I misunderstood, you tell yourself. It's like removing one brick at a time from your mental foundation until you're left in ruins. You start second-guessing yourself. Did I really say that? Am I overreacting? The term comes from a play where a husband dims the lights and denies it, making his wife doubt her sanity. You start to wonder, is it really getting darker, or am I imagining things? Gaslighters present their version of events as absolute truth, making you question your own senses. Maybe I'm just too sensitive, you think, as their words echo louder than your own memories. You become dependent on them for reality, losing trust in your own mind. If they say it happened, maybe it did, you reason, even as doubt gnaws at you. Phrases like, "You're too sensitive," or "That's not how it happened," are used to rewrite history. You replay conversations in your head, trying to remember what's real. The goal is power. By making you doubt yourself, you become easier to control. Maybe I should just let them decide what's true, you think, exhausted by the constant uncertainty. Over time, their voice becomes the only one you trust. Your own thoughts feel unreliable, like static in the background. Gaslighting is emotional abuse that leaves deep, lasting scars. The damage isn't always visible, but it's real, and it lingers in the quiet moments when you're left alone with your thoughts. The manipulation began with tiny distortions, little edits to reality that seemed harmless at first. They were easy to dismiss as misunderstandings, or even as his own forgetfulness. He'd recall a promise, like meeting up on his birthday. She'd insist it never happened, or claim he'd mixed up the dates. Her messages shifted blame. "You must have misunderstood," or "You always twist my words," or "You're putting pressure on me," and "Why are you making this a big deal?" Simple questions were reframed as accusations, and his concerns dismissed as overreactions. He started to feel guilty for things he hadn't done, and even for things he hadn't thought. Expressing his feelings led to attacks on his character. "So now I'm the villain," or "I guess I can't do anything right." The original issue was lost, replaced by confusion, circular arguments, and apologies he didn't owe. These daily exchanges eroded his confidence, teaching him not to trust himself, and making him second-guess every memory. His feelings were invalidated, his memory questioned. Are you sure that happened? He started to believe he was too sensitive, too demanding, maybe even broken. This self-doubt made him more compliant, less likely to challenge her, and more likely to apologize for things he didn't do. The cracks in his self-trust deepened, isolating him further and paving the way for more manipulation. The foundation for years of control was set, and he began to wonder if he'd ever be able to trust his own mind again. On social media, their life looked flawless. Smiling photos, loving captions, endless praise. Every post painted a picture of happiness, a relationship others envied. Friends saw only the curated image, never suspecting the truth. They celebrated the couple, sharing their posts and reinforcing the illusion. This public adoration made him question his own reality when things went wrong. He wondered if he was the problem, or if he was just imagining the pain. Privately, she used his vulnerabilities against him, sending messages that blamed him for their problems. Her words cut deep, echoing in his mind long after the screen went dark. The contrast between public affection and private condemnation left him feeling like a fraud. He played the part in public, but inside, he was unraveling. If he confided in friends, they'd point to her posts and doubt his story. The evidence of her love was everywhere, making his pain invisible. Her public persona isolated him further, making him afraid to speak out. The fear of not being believed kept him silent. He learned to play along, smiling for photos while feeling lost inside. Each picture became another mask he had to wear. After fights, she'd post loving photos, forcing him to pretend everything was fine. The world saw only the highlight reel, never the pain behind the scenes. To resist would be to confirm her narrative that he was unstable. Any protest became proof of his supposed flaws. He was trapped between a beautiful lie and a painful truth. The world applauded the mask while he suffered in silence. There seemed no way out of the maze. Each turn led to more confusion, more isolation, and the hope of escape faded with every step. The silence ended with a click, an ordinary sound that shattered everything. A mutual acquaintance exposed her manipulation with screenshots, evidence that spread like wildfire across social media. Her tactics were laid bare, twisting words, creating confusion, fabricating stories. The post exploded in popularity, drawing thousands of eyes and reactions within hours. The private maze he'd been trapped in was suddenly public. Relief washed over him, but so did a tidal wave of emotion, shock, disbelief, and a raw, aching validation. Messages poured in from strangers and friends alike, some offering support, others sharing their own stories of manipulation. Each message chipped away at the isolation he'd felt for years. The shame he'd carried was replaced by solidarity and understanding. The viral moment wasn't about revenge, but liberation. A collective exhale from everyone who'd ever doubted their own reality. Her power, built on secrecy and his self-doubt, vanished in the light of truth. The public mask was gone, and for the first time, he could finally trust himself again. The flickering lights he'd seen were real all along, and now, so was his freedom. Gaslighting is so insidious because it often begins in the context of loving, trusting relationships, places where you feel safest. The person you care about most becomes the one who quietly rewrites your reality. You want to believe your partner, so you question yourself instead. You replay conversations in your head, wondering if you misunderstood or if you're just being too sensitive. The shift from trust to self-doubt is gradual and almost invisible. It's like trying to finish a puzzle where the pieces never quite fit. But you keep trying anyway, convinced the problem is you. Gaslighters are confident, presenting their version of events with unwavering certainty. Their conviction makes you doubt your own memory, even when you were sure just moments before. When you're emotional and they're calm, it's easy to believe you're the problem. I remember feeling like I was always too much, too emotional, too sensitive, too dramatic. They exploit your insecurities, confirming your deepest fears. Every time you second-guess yourself, it's as if they're holding up a mirror to your worst thoughts. The manipulation feels like a painful truth, not an attack. You start to accept their version of you, even when it hurts. Isolation is key. They cut you off from outside perspectives. Friends and family become distant, either because you push them away or because the gaslighter convinces you they're not trustworthy. Without others to challenge their narrative, their reality becomes your own. You start to rely on them for the truth, even when it contradicts your own experience. Your world shrinks until their voice is all you hear. I remember feeling like I was living in a fog, unable to trust my own thoughts. That's the true power of gaslighting. It doesn't just distort your reality, it replaces it. Healing starts with a single step, giving yourself permission to trust your mind again, even if it feels difficult at first. Your feelings and memories are valid. They belong to you. Begin by acknowledging them and let yourself feel without judgment. Practice listening to your inner voice. Meditation, mindfulness, or simply quiet moments can help you reconnect with your intuition. Document your experiences, journaling, taking screenshots, or even recording voice memos. These tools anchor your reality and help you see your progress. Remember, this isn't about proving anything to others. It's about building reassurance and self-compassion for yourself. Reconnect with supportive friends, family, or a therapist. If you feel isolated, consider joining a support group, online or in person, where others understand your journey. Sharing your story with those who listen without judgment helps rebuild self-trust. Many have walked this path and found hope on the other side. Their validation acts as a mirror, reflecting back the reality you were told was false. Over time, these moments add up, restoring your confidence. Awareness is your strength. The moment you recognize manipulation, your power begins to return. Every insight is a victory. Learn to spot the warning signs, denial of your experience, questioning your memory, dismissal of your feelings. Educate yourself about gaslighting and emotional abuse. Trust your gut. If a relationship leaves you confused and full of self-doubt, pay attention. Your instincts are there to protect you. Your reality is worth defending. You are not alone, and your story matters. Trusting yourself is the ultimate act of reclaiming your life. With time, support, and self-compassion, you can heal, grow, and thrive, turning your pain into strength and your story into hope for others.